Hey guys, I'm Ayden P reporting for Kids First.
And I'm Jude A.
And today I have the honor of speaking with Jeremy Adams and Meghan Fitzmartin, writers of the new animated feature film Justice Society World War II, coming on digital April 27th, 2021.
Meghan Fitzmartin is known for her writing for Supernatural and DC superhero girls, and Jeremy Adams is known for writing Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans and Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge.
It's nice to have you two here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks. It's nice to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you guys here, so I think that we're both really excited. All right, so to begin, there are a lot of different variations of the Justice League, like the CW version and the DCEU version. So Meghan, when approaching a new film like this, what process did you guys go through to make sure that this is something that nobody has ever seen before?
I mean, I think that one part of the process, especially in dealing with, everybody has sort of ideas on who these characters are and what stories people want to see. And so I think Jeremy and I and everybody at DC sort of got together and said, okay, well, but who are these characters and what stories do we want to tell with these characters? And out of that, we got something that I think is really cool and is really fun and honors that, but being able to work out of the characters, I think in general helps alleviate some of those fears and concerns.
Yeah, and when talking specifically about the characters, Jeremy, were there any specific characteristics that you changed about these classic individual characters that people might not be used to seeing?
Honestly, I don't know from the writing point of view. I think that that Meghan and I constantly talk about. I know Meghan and I talk about. She likes it really sad, and I like it really sappy. So there's some interpersonal things we added. But what was cool about it for me as a writer, especially, is when we handed it off to the storyboard team and the producers, and it went to our amazing voice director, Wes Gleason, and these amazing voice actors, they changed some of the dynamics of who these characters are just from their acting ability. And specifically Hawkman, to me, was so different than the way I heard him in my head. But then when I saw the way that he was played, I was like, oh man, that's such an original take. And now that's kind of the take that's taken hold in my brain. So now, from now on, that's going to be the way it sounds inside.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's just going to be setting a new expectation, I guess, for new viewers who had never seen these characters before.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Meghan, so as a writer, you're to keep the plot lines fresh. So how do you keep the plot lines fresh with these classic characters?
I think the best way that we did it was just by talking about it and geeking out about it. Like, these are characters that we love. These are stories and situations that we love. And as Jeremy said, I like making anybody as sad as possible. So any sort of opportunity to really dig into that, I think for both Jeremy and I, we would find these sort of opportunities in the story that we would dig into, and those that bring ourselves to it, that bring things that we love about this world to give a different type of spin on it.
Yeah, I myself, I also geek out about superheroes too.
Yeah, they're great. They're the best.
Yep. Okay, so Jeremy, why did you choose a historical time like World War II? Was it something that happened while writing, or was it planned from the beginning?
It was planned from the beginning. Butch, who's our supervising producer, which in animation terms, he's really like the guy in control of everything. Originally, him and another producer, Jim Krieg, I think they were thinking about doing a Wonder Woman World War II series. And in lieu of that, we decided to wrap that up into a JSA historical, action movie. So it was already baked in at the beginning. Plus, the JSA has never been shown in animated form, I don't believe, or at least in long form. So it all seemed to work together so that Meghan and I could write this thing. But yeah, it's always been at the beginning that this was going to take place in World War II.
Yeah, that's really interesting, just because I believe that we've seen the JSA in the live action Stargirl series, but it'll be really interesting to see it brought to animation. So when tackling such a sensitive time period like World War II, Meghan, did you face any challenges regarding the sensitive background that you'd never faced before?
I think honestly, and this is a story that I love telling, I found out that I got the gig while I was in London at a World War II Winston Churchill museum. So
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, great, well, I'm going to write this off and do a lot of research right here, right now. And it was really helpful to sort of immediately get into the mindset. And you know, as we write these things, it's strange how a lot of the stuff is mirroring our own sort of existence currently. Like there's a lot of themes and stuff that like a couple years ago when Jeremy and I wrote this, we had not thought about as it would relate to the way that things are now and has and does. And I think that is why these characters are so time honored and timeless, is because they exist in all of these different spaces, and there is a message that is always worth telling.
Mm-hmm. And that's quite the coincidence to actually get the news about a superhero movie about World War II and actually being in a museum about World War II. That's quite the.
Oh yeah, no, it all worked out real well for me.
The world works in mysterious ways.
Truly.
Yeah. And Jeremy, were there any scenes in particular that were challenging to write because of the World War II time period?
Yeah, for me, we have a submarine scene, and I had to like do all this research on what submarines were capable of, or what type of submarines there were, and the fact. But this is what's so great about writing. One of the things I love is that when you do research, you will find weird little tidbits that somehow, if you pull on the threads lightly enough, will coincide with the story. So in this case, there's a submarine that is battery powered. And it's like, oh, I have this character that can build up electric charges, and there's a battery powered, you know, submarine. How could that work together? You know, but that was challenging because I wanted to make sure the dialogue was right. What they were saying. I know nothing about submarines. I know nothing about most things. I know that's why I gravitate towards superheroes, so I can make stuff up. So, you know, but that was like, oh, I got to be specific. And thank goodness Butch was like, hey, you did a good job. Like, and I'm like, oh, thank you.
It's also a very good Butch impersonation, by the way. Good job.
Yeah, just those little details that you wouldn't think would be difficult, but they can be difficult.
Right.
Jeremy, you know we love surprises, so can you tell us about any surprise characters in this film?
Absolutely not. You know, that is, I like that you tried, but man, we get in trouble. So the good thing is that what we try to do when we're writing these things is we try to make, and in particular this one, I have to say, there's quite a few little twists and turns. And I'd be depriving you of the joy of watching this movie if I told you anything that would spoil it.
When imagining like what this movie will be like, were there any characters in particular, Meghan, that you were really excited to explore? Maybe a character that you were always a fan of from the beginning?
Oh man, all of them. I mean, I like them all so much. It's like trying to choose my favorite children. I mean, I love Wonder Woman, and I love the chance to write her. Black Canary has always been a favorite. I think one of the first comics that I ever picked up was Birds of Prey, and so being able to write a version of Black Canary was huge. And also Hourman. Like I knew of Hourman, but I love the concept of Hourman, and like it's such an interesting character that we just don't get to see. So I'm like thrilled that we got to play with Hourman. And so I think those are the top three that I say in general, but really all of them were so exciting to like play around with, because there is preconceived notions of JSA, but there is less preconceived notions in animation. So yeah, Jeremy and I get to sort of, we're not held down by things. So that was really nice to sort of like play with
and
that.
Jeremy, what about you? Were there any characters that you wanted to be in the film, but unfortunately did not make the final cut?
Yeah, I mean, not final cut, but when we were first establishing what's the roster going to be, I think when I think of JSA, there are certain people like Wildcat and Alan Scott Green Lantern. I really like Alan Scott Green Lantern, but there's only so much time and so much money, and you can only animate so many things. And also the reality is that Alan Scott has such a huge power set. It makes it really easy to get through a lot of bad problems. So we cut that and made it a little harder for our heroes.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm personally a big Hourglass fan as well. Like you said, I think he's a really cool guy. I think he's a great concept. Just very magical. Makes me geek out.
Awesome.
Yay.
So, Megan, with these characters, do you think this movie could be connected to something more, like a DC animated movie universe, like a new one?
We'll see. We'll have to wait and find out. I don't know.
All right, we'll have to take that, I guess. It was a good try. It was a good try.
Yeah.
A valiant effort, indeed.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeremy Adams and Meghan Fitzmartin, for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. It was great to talk to you guys.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think that I can speak for Ayden and I to say that we are both extremely excited for the release of Justice Society World War II on April 27th on digital platforms and Blu-ray.
Yay!
For everyone watching, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Kids First, so that way you don't miss any of our reviews or interviews, and by any of our teammates. I'm Ayden Payne.
And I'm Jude Adler, reporting for Kids First. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Kid, you ain't seen nothing yet.